You're listening to the Weekly Thoughts podcast hosted by Rahul Shenoy, Sai Bakumala, Nisha Stana, and Rahul Samba. Spawned after our late night conversations, we'll be discussing our perspectives on current topics, trends, issues, and more. Tune in every Saturday to catch our latest episode.
All right, so since all of us are going back to college this fall, what do you guys think are the expectations that are set for college students or high school students as well, in general?
I think that really depends on your culture and the type of parents that you have. Like if you have more strict parents, then it's gonna be the expectations are kind of high. And then if you have less strict parents, or it could just really depend on what you want for yourself. There's a lot of things that go into that.
That's true. But I feel like there's also so much pressure from other people, outside of your parents and yourself, whether it be your coaches, whether it be teachers, whether it be your friends, there's a lot of outside pressure from other people, in order for you to be successful, whether it be in sports, academics, or just a social life or anything like that.
Yeah, society puts such an emphasis on school. It is important, but it kind of seems like it makes it seem like school is the only way to get successful. People don't realize that there are other paths they could take. And so I guess that kind of puts a lot of pressure on students as well.
I think the expectations they don't, I kind of disagree in that I don't think they've gone far enough yet. I think we've kind of lost the idea that school is unnecessary or things like that. But I do think that this is talking about the average student, of course. I'm not talking about, obviously school is not the only way, but it's the most likely way for the general person to work in our society. So and I feel like people in recent times have started to question it more, which is okay. But the idea that you shouldn't try your hardest in school, or you shouldn't be, focusing on it. I know I kind of disagree with that aspect.
I think I partially agree with you. I think that I feel like school is a safer way of getting a job versus other paths that people choose, like YouTube or other stuff like that, where you don't necessarily need a college degree for it. I think it's just a safer path. You have a more, like you said, more likely to get a job through college than just on your own.
I think a large part of it is also how much an individual plan for their future. Because let's say you have a kid that just decides to drop out of college or something for no reason, they have no other set path, and then they'll just go end up doing something else, without having a clear set plan in mind. But maybe ways to be successful is if you had a person who knows what they want to do even before they start college. I think they'll be able to make the decision whether or not college is worth it. I think they'll be able to make that judgment a little bit better, because at least they have something, a plan of what to do, if they don't choose to go to college or not.
Yeah.
I also see that the value of college in some people's eyes is going down. There's a lot of things you can learn from online classes now, and companies I think are starting to realize that. Google, they're starting to open up tech jobs where you don't need a college degree, and if you just learn these skills from an online course, then they'll figure out in the interview if you have those skills. So I think companies are also starting to see that side of things.
I heard that Elon Musk was promoting how Tesla would hire these kind of people. If you had the skills, but you didn't have the degree, then they would accept you.
Yeah, exactly. Because some people literally just can't go to college if they can't afford
yeah,
it.
I think that's completely reasonable, because if you have the skills that you did from college, if you have the skills from college but you just didn't go to college, then and they test you and find out that you actually do have those skills, then I think you should definitely get the job, or at least be considered.
Yeah, I agree with I think another point Avnish made is since there's a lot of ways to now learn online, I think a lot of these major companies such as Tesla, Google, or maybe any IT company, any big IT company or something, are starting to realize that people may not always choose to go to college, but that doesn't necessarily mean that like their technical skills or whatever like inferior to somebody that did go to college. So I think, because of that, I think college is definitely the value, or at least like the individual value that college has to a person is definitely decreasing, because I think there's been more and more people, every single year that are finding ways to be successful, without pursuing a college degree.
I think that in IT that's true to an extent, but I think that's also a bit too general. Like in other fields like medicine or other things like that, you still need to have the proper licenses and proper education, formal education that you need to complete in order to be successful in that field. Not even just successful, just to work in that field. So I think there's some exceptions to that. And by the way, for like a Tesla internship, you still need a college. You still need to be in college, or still need a college degree to get a Tesla internship. So I mean, yes, that's Elon Musk says that, but in practice, I don't think these like companies kind of go to those tactics, I guess.
But I think they're starting to realize that. Because wait, are you sure about the Tesla thing? Because I've literally seen interviews of Elon Musk saying things about college, like it's an indicator, but it does not really show
Well, I
how.
mean, I think he means that they give you a chance, but you're probably not as likely to be picked, right? Is that what you were trying to say?
Yeah, no, well, I've heard the same interviews, Elon Musk talking about that. But like in practice, when you see like Tesla's hiring requirements and things like that, I think I read about this somewhere. You still need like a college education or need to be in college to get some of the internships and stuff. I can see
Like,
if I can find it.
I think, no, I was saying like some of the other internships, maybe not all of them, but I'm saying you can definitely get some of them without a college
wait,
degree.
okay, so you're telling me, let's say like two people who interview at Tesla have like the same set of skills, or like even the person who didn't go to college has like maybe a greater knowledge of what they're doing. Do you think like the person with the college degree would get the job, or what?
Maybe in today's world, the college degree, but that's probably because of like the bias that's been put in people's
Yeah,
head.
it'd be
Because
like
that's
this
how things are
norms.
supposed to go. But I think in the
Yeah.
future, people are going to move a little bit away from that and kind of open their minds a little
It
bit to.
depends on who's hiring, right? It could be like, so like Tesla is more of like a modern business, right? So they
Yeah.
might sort of look at it differently. But if you're talking about like, I don't know, like Apple, I don't think Apple has anything that's like no a college degree sort of thing. If you're talking about Apple, maybe not.
Yeah, maybe. I know Google is like starting to do things. I think these companies are just starting to open up to people who haven't gone to college. It's not like fully in place yet. There's just a tiny
Hmm.
open.
But I think that like, since business is always like evolving, like a company will understand like whether it be now or in the future that like, there's always going to be candidates that maybe may not have pursued like a college degree, but they may be as equally skilled as some of their colleagues who are also interviewing or something like that.
What do you guys think about the future of the American education system in general, mainly with colleges, because the fees just keep on getting higher and higher every year? Wait, so how do you guys think high school plays a role into your life as opposed to college?
Well, I think that like high school wasn't really like as like I guess like important or like I didn't think it was like I don't think I should try as hard as in like freshman year and sophomore year. And then towards like junior and senior year, like I think those are the years that they like sort of look at because of like SAT, ACT, and like just your overall GPA.
I wouldn't say it's technically less important. I just say I think in high school, I think the reason like most of us, didn't take it as serious as college is because I don't think we had like big consequences, whether it be like any actions. Like I don't think we really thought through like what our actions and like the impacts that they'd have, because we all thought high school is such a small community as compared to like a college campus, and it's not as strict with the rules and punishments, whatever, like whether it be cheating, or like hurting somebody, or just any other like problems that happen in high school compared to college. And I think because of that, that's the main reason why a lot of us kind of took high school a lot lighter than we do college.
Yeah, I think that there was definitely more room to mess up in high school just because college, you're that much closer to adulthood. So you kind of need to have some stuff figured out.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think like college is like the part where like you start becoming more responsible and you start like thinking about the consequences of like your actions and like how
Yeah.
they affect other people. I think it's kind of like the transition stage from like, being like a teenager in high school to like becoming an actual adult working in like the real world.
I think the main thing for me was like to take like college serious was the classes, because now it's like specifically what you're going to do for the rest of your life sort of thing,
Yeah.
versus like high school is just all the general classes. Everyone's taking the same classes as you.
Yeah, I think in high school, if you do you want to go ahead?
No, 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 it's all you.
Okay, okay. So I think in high school, if you can learn how to learn, does that make sense?
Hmm.
Like if you know the way you best learn and the best way you can absorb material and then replicate that stuff on tests, if you can learn how to do that in high school, then in college when you're learning the actual material that you'll be using in your career, I think that's the probably a really good way to go about it. Because like if you're gonna be an engineer, then language arts is from high school is probably not going to be that important. But if you figure out how to adapt to be able to get good at language arts or to stuff like that, I think that would be pretty useful.
That's true. Like learning, like the way you learn in high school, I think is super important because I think a lot of mistakes that like high schoolers do when like transitioning into college, like even me, like at this point, like I think a mistake that I still make is like I still don't know the best way that I study. Like whether it be like memorizing stuff, learning new concepts, or just like figuring out and remembering things like that I've learned from the past. I still don't think there's like a specific way. And I think, had I learned that in high school, maybe I wouldn't be so nervous heading into college, worrying about like how I'm going to be able to keep up with the pace of like a college workload and like worrying about all of my classes now. So I think
I
that's
think
like a really important tip.
I think that's yeah, that's also a concern for me as well.
Sorry, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I mean pretty much the same things. Yeah. So,
Sick. Sick.
so okay, since we've completed high school from the past 4 years, we've ended our 4 year marker of high school. You guys have any regrets or anything you'd like to like, any reflections from high school? Like if you could go back and do something different, would you? Or like, is there anything
Okay,
like
I'm
that?
sure we all have some regrets. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, I know Avnish does, and I definitely do also.
Yeah,
Okay, I wish I like opened my mind a bit more and was a little less stubborn and got myself in more uncomfortable situations just because then I'd learn more from them. Because now I'm getting into those situations in high school and I'm kind of stuck in some parts. So
I
I
think
wish I kind of learned more during high school.
That's good. I think like my biggest thing would have been to be consistent through all 4 years, like in terms of like my work ethic. Because I remember my first 3 years of high school. I mean, I may have slacked off here and there, but like I still made sure to study, work hard, so I could get like good grades and stuff. But I remember senior year, like especially like even all my teachers, like you can ask all my friends, they literally exposed me so hard for slacking off real bad senior year. Like it was really bad. Like the amount of absences I had was insane. But I think, maybe had I not slacked off my senior year and still like considered it to be an important year of high school, I'm sure like my GPA would have been way higher than it was. And then I would have ended on a good note.
I mean,
What about
going
you?
back to like what Avnish's original question was, I was gonna say for me, it's like being prepared was one of the things I regret that I wasn't doing. Like I wasn't prepared. Like I'd have like I'd leave like certain sheets or like stuff I would need like in a folder, but then I wouldn't bring the folder, and I would just leave that stuff behind, and it'd be like super important. It'll be like a cheat sheet for like a test, and I'd be like, well, now I just don't know what to do at that point.
Dude, I feel that. I went to so STEM, going to STEM for middle school. We did not have to study for any of the tests.
Yeah.
Everyone would do well. And then high school freshman year, I remember the first wave of tests. I thought I could just get away with the same stuff. Didn't study for them. Did pretty terrible on every one of them. So that was a big mistake was not being prepared.
Yeah, I had the exact same mistake because me and I went to STEM also. And, transitioning in the same high school, you went to Avnish. It was definitely tough. Like looking at like the difference in the rigor and like the competitiveness between different people, it was like crazy different from STEM. And like
I think
just like going into some of my classes, I was so overwhelmed freshman year.
yeah, like I completely agree. Like when we go to high school and basically all of schooling in the US, we're basically the first ones in our family, assuming like just in general, to like we're basically going through it blind, if that makes sense. Like we have like the general idea of what to expect and things like that, but obviously both of our parents or maybe one of our parents, doesn't matter, never went to high school. So we can't really, I mean, we can ask them like in general about schooling, but in terms of like how schooling works here, we can't really like reach out to someone for advice in like a very close sense, unless you have a sibling in high school who's like been through that process before. So like when you walk into like high school, you're doing it blindly, and I mean, we can't really go back in the past and say like, oh, I could have done this better. We kind of did our best during that time, and we really didn't know if one thing would have been more important than the other thing. And I think it's definitely hard, like being all Indian, like how we're kind of going through this like blindly, just in life in general. Like we don't know. We're probably like one of the first persons to do this in our family, and it's just like weird to like navigate that on your own and not have someone to like see and get like you can get advice, of course, but it's not the same, you know.
That's true. And considering like all of us have younger siblings, like I guarantee you, they're definitely, I'd say, luckier than us because they're all gonna have older siblings who have gone through the high school experience and college, and understand like what they can expect, for their future careers and like their future journey through high school and college. So I think yeah, definitely like our siblings definitely may have it easier.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, we're also doing this through like a global pandemic, like never seen before in our lifetimes. We don't even know how to ask like how to like work through this on our own. Like again, we're just doing this like we're just going on through it on our own. So it'll be interesting to see like how everything plays out and how we'll like go through it.